So the first question I have or received was, how do you focus on the topics of a meeting? That's a toughie. Because there's two kinds of meetings. There's that meeting where you as the team leader, you as the boss, you as the lead, go to inform, go to set vision, go to set direction, go to set mission and vision. And so that really becomes you doing the show. And so you have to understand what your mission, what your vision, what the purpose of the meeting is, why you feel it's important that you get in front of these people and share this thing. And then you've got to share it at such a level that you break down that disengagement that often happens at meetings. You walk into the meeting and if you looked around, everybody's arms would be crossed. They'd be scrolling through their phones. Half of them would be asleep and the other half would be eyeing the donut tray, praying nobody ate the Boston cream pie before they got to it. And so when you're having that kind of vision, mission setting meeting, when you have to give the State of the Union sort of thing, you got to come in strong, you got to come in clear, and you've got to connect with the people first. And so that's where you might have to start the meeting with recognizing who they are, recognizing the achievements, recognizing the GPS position of the group, and then set where you want them to go, and then fill in the middle of how you're going to get there. So that's one kind of meeting. The other kind of meeting is often that round table mastermind, bring your stuff to the table, let's see where we're at, let's see what we need to do, let's see how we can grow kind of meeting. That agenda, those topics should be really set by the meeting participants, not by a single person saying, okay, I'm checking up on all you. No, checking up on all you in a meeting format is just going to create tension. It's going to create that mistrust. It's going to create that closeness in the group. Instead, you want to be able to go to each individual and say, okay, where are you at? Are there any stuck points? Who do you need? What resources do you need? Where do you need to step out of your space and into somebody else's space? Let's go ahead and plan to have that conversation so that we can set you up for success. So each of the participants should be coming to the meeting with a topic or agenda or a need, saying, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm trying to go, here's where I'm stuck, here's the resources I need. Team, help me so that we can all grow together. When I walk into a meeting and I'm handed the agenda at the door and I haven't been given any foreshadowing about it, I know it's going to be a bad meeting. Because that's going to be one of those bosses standing at the front, yelling and telling everybody what to do, and then asking those obscure questions that nobody's had time to prepare for. And so the response and the engagement is going to be like at an all-time level 2. If I'm setting a meeting with a team or in a company or with a group of individuals, I make sure that I meet with each of the people that's going to be in that meeting or their supervisors or their team captains or whatever it is, and say, okay, I think we need to get together because this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. This might be where we're at. How can I resource you? What do you need from the meeting in order to move forward? What do you need from the rest of us in order to help you continue to excel and succeed? Great. So we're going to put that on the agenda. What I might need you to do beforehand is prepare this, this, and this so that everybody can catch up to where you're at. Then I go to Bob, so to speak, and say, hey, by the way, Sally's coming into the meeting. She's got these issues. These are the things that she's working on. This is where she's going to need your resources. I'm giving you a heads up so you and your team or you have time to go out and sort of strategically think how you might be able to help resource Sally so when the two of us together, it can be lifting each other up, not just staring at each other. So 2 kinds of meetings, 2 different approaches. Same thing when you're dealing with your kids. Are you going to be lecturing or are you going to be engaging? Set the intention and then set the meeting accordingly. So that was the question that was, how do you focus on the topics of your meetings? Q&A Wednesday, a question that was submitted was, I don't know what I'm selling. I can't make up my mind. How do I figure out who I am as a business? So let me repeat the question. The question is, I don't know what I'm selling. I can't make up my mind. How do I figure out who I am as a business? That's a great question. Often that is part of what, as a coach or a consultant, I do for businesses and individuals. Because often everybody wants to change the world. Everybody wants to make the biggest impact. Everybody wants to do this cannonball level splash into the world. And they see all of these things, from books to videos to movies to t-shirts to hats to tin can, like they see it all. And then they see that I could help adults and kids and coach, like all of the, like they've got all of these things that they want to impact. But when I ask them, what is it you're selling? What is it you're doing? What is your expertise? Why would I come to you? They freeze up because there's so much. When I go to Walmart, and think of it this way, there's two kinds of Walmart shoppers. There's the ones that go in and just wander up and down the aisle. Just wander up and down the aisle. And if something sparks their attention, they're going to pick it up, put it in their cart. They may wander for another 10 minutes and then take it out of their cart and sort of shove it back where nobody can see it because they changed their mind, and then they'll put something else in. And they'll get up front and they'll be ringing it out, and there's no enthusiasm, no really yay, I'm so happy. Unless it's one of those clearance items like the day I got my boys shoes for $1 a pair. Yes, we have 4 years worth of those shoes in our closet. Or you have the Walmart shopper that says, I'm going to Walmart, I got to pick up this. Boom, in, out, gone, done. Next day, I need to go to Walmart, I'm picking up this, boom, next day, gone. You want to create such clarity in what you do and how you provide a service, what pain you relieve, what problem you solve, what item you have, that when I am out there in the social media, out there in the business world, when I am looking for solution, your lighthouse is so clear. I'm like, up, in, out, good. But when you're sitting and you're diluted with all of the things that you do and all of the people that you want to serve and all of the stuff, you're only going to attract those people that might engage, and then they might disengage even during the engagement process, or they're not really enthusiastic about you. And the problem with those non-enthusiastic people is just like the Walmart shopper that got to home and they're like, I don't know why I bought all this crap. We don't really need it. And they start to like doubt themselves, and they don't have a lot of great feelings, and then they get yelled at by their spouse for picking up some obscure thing that they already have 3 of in the closet. They begin to get dissatisfied with the source. You don't want that happening in your business. You can't afford to have that happen in your business. When you're such a small business person, and small doesn't mean that you're playing small, but when we have such a crowded market and you can only take up so much market share, you want to gain such loyal fans, such loyal disciples of you and what you do, that they're selling you to other people. They're selling you into the world. They're creating clients and customers for you. So often part of that process that I do as a consultant or as a coach with people is going through that thing, that funnel thing. It's like, this is what I want to do. And I keep asking questions and questions and questions and questions. And I get it so tight that they get like, you can almost hear the frustration, like, but I want to do all this. I'm like, yeah, but if you can get it this tight, would you rather go really deep and really strong in what you do and have people really know who you are, that they're racing to your door? Or would you rather be so wide that you're managing all of this stuff in between and nobody really knows how to connect to you, how to engage with you, how, like, they're just like, whatever. And so they begin to lose track, and you begin to lose momentum, and you become distracted by 1,001 things, and then your business doesn't launch, or it doesn't take off, or it kind of bubbles along the ground, and then you begin to doubt yourself as a business person, as a person of service, as a person of commitment, when in reality, it's you didn't define to me, consumer, client, engager, the thing that I need you most for. I have people in my circle, people in my network, people in my center of influence that I don't expect certain things from them because that's not where their expertise is. But I know when I go to them, I'm getting this, and I'm getting it at the highest level, and I'm getting it at the most direct way, and that when I leave, I am going to be full, satisfied with no regrets. So even in my business, there's a lot of confusion about what I do, which I get. That's partly my fault, partly the re-engineering. And so you have to constantly be monitoring it. You have to be making sure that you're staying in your thing. I heard an expression the other day that I think best sums it up. You can talk wide or be wide, but you market narrow or market small. If you want to talk about something because you have an opinion or you have a perspective, that's fine. But when it comes to finally marketing and building what you do, you want to keep it very narrow so that people can say, you know what, they're really great at this. And by the way, they do pretty good over here, and they do pretty good over here, and they kind of have a great opinion over here. So that's the answer that I have to the question. I hope it was satisfying. Again, the question was, I don't know what I'm selling. I can't make up my mind. And how do I figure it out? I forgot the how do I figure it out? Figure out who I am as a business. So I'm going to backtrack just like half a sec. And how do I figure it out? The way my brain works, and it's probably broken, so don't try and copy it, is for some reason I can hear ideas and thoughts in a very sort of chessboardy way that I start to see all of these little squares filling up with words or thoughts or ideas. And then I guess it wouldn't be chess. It's more like connect the dots. And all of a sudden I'll start to see like this pattern in the words or in the dots or in the feelings and I'm like, oh, did you see how this, and this all really align, but it goes back to this one thing? And they're like, no, I didn't see that. And I'm like, see that thing right there, that little square that you missed, that's where you're at. You're just building everything around it and not seeing it. It's kind of the way my brain works. I don't know if it's right or wrong. So what I often encourage people to do is get a stack of sticky pads and just start writing out random ideas. People, ideas, problems, solutions, feelings, etc. as it relates to the business. Like, who do I want to work with? Where do I want to work? What problems do I solve? What don't I want to do? And just start sticking them even on like a window or a door, and then step back and start studying it. And then you'll peel off the ones that just seem redundant, that seem weak. And pretty soon you start to get this like, oh my gosh, look at this. All four of these seem to say the same thing. That's the beginning point. Another way is some people like mind mapping, where they'll put one bubble in another bubble and another bubble and another bubble, and then they try and connect the dots. And it works. It works. You can't write your life from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. It doesn't work that way in reality. You can't write your vision, your mission, your purpose as a business from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. You've got to see it outside of you, and you've got to see it as the parts of the experience that you want to create and that you've had, and then bring them into a central idea. And if you have 4 or 5 sticky pads at the end, that's good, because then you're like, okay, what do these have in common? What feeling do they have in common? What purpose do they have in common? What people do they have in common? What product do they have in common? What platform does this sound like? And I got to caution, some people will call a platform YouTube, Instagram, Facebook Lives, a book. Those are vehicles. The platform is where you stand. What do you stand on? When somebody asks you something, what is it you're standing on as your belief, your voice, your message, your whatever? And how you deliver it is that vehicle. Social media, a book, a webinar, a podcast, and all of that. Doesn't matter. If I put you in a car and ask you a question, you're going to answer it the exact same way as if you were a guest on my podcast. Now, granted, you'd mix it up and move it around, but I could still hear those 4 sticky notes in what you were saying. All right, so now I think I got the question right. I'll double check. I don't know what I'm selling. I can't make up my mind. How do I figure out who I am as a business? So that was the question. And then we have one more question. So this question that was asked today on Q&A Wednesday is, as a coach, what is your mission? So the question I'm being asked is, as a coach, what is your mission? So as a coach, because I have a mission that encompasses my life as a dad, as a spouse, as a coach, as a man of faith, in a variety of different roles that I play, there's this overlying mission for my life. But in the sense of coaching, or how I built my business as it relates to being a coach and an influencer, is it truly comes down to that idea is I want no one to doubt their worthiness to live the life that they desire. I don't want a belief system to go unchallenged that allows somebody to think that they couldn't have had what they dreamed they wanted. And so when I meet with clients, whether it's one-on-one or in a group or in a consulting format or on a stage, I want to spark in each person that understanding of worthiness. I want them to step aside, and they don't necessarily have to have the big vision and the big mission and all of the details of their plan. I just want to know that when they sit down at night in the quiet of their own space and they begin to have dreams, goals, desires, hopes, that instead of saying, not people like me, not at my age, not with my weight, not with my income, not with my social economic background, not because of the, that the nots disappear, and instead they're like, you know what? I'm worthy of that. I am divinely and perfectly created, and I am worthy to chase my dreams. Now, I don't know necessarily how I'm going to do it, and I don't know all the hows and whys and buts and fors, and I don't know what the journey looks like. But what I do know, because of Coach Eric, is that I'm worthy of it. And so my mission is to make sure that I never leave somebody feeling unworthy, and that I always try and plant that spark, that light of worthiness in them, so that they can then begin to build their life of success, that they can begin to journey from where they're at to where they really desire to be. What is my mission as a coach? In short, it really is to let you know that you are worthy of whatever enters your heart, whatever enters your mind, whatever fantasy fills you, that you are worthy of it and it belongs to you, and that you get to chase it with full heart and no doubt.